Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Threeton, Associate Professor of Workforce Education and Development at Pennsylvania State University. Today I'm here to talk to you about turning the page on 2020, a fresh look at teaching and learning. Let's go ahead and get started. The year 2020 was full of surprises, which really caused everyone to go ahead and reflect on the important things in life. The COVID-19 pandemic has touched every man, woman, and child across the globe in some capacity. Virtually every business, industry, and educational institution has been forced to rethink how their work is accomplished. Now more than ever in our history, vocational educators and industrial trainers alike are essential to ushering in new and innovative teaching techniques, integrating technology, and utilizing modern instructional practices which promote enhanced workplace performance. During this presentation, I'm going to go ahead and share with you some innovative teaching and learning practices to facilitate the transfer of learning, with a particular focus on addressing the change that's occurred in vocational education in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. So let's go ahead and get started. There's an adage in this country, in the United States, that goes something like this. Everyone's in favor of progress, it's change they don't like. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, change was everywhere, particularly in our everyday life, in education. Everywhere you looked, change. And not change, but rapid change. And if you look at the change that occurred in vocational education during that time, if you were a professional educator or an educator that had been in the field for a long time, you might feel like you're a first-year educator. You might be in the phases of a first-year educator. You might have felt like that this last year. And good chances are that at first you were, survival mode. You may have come into the after the first of the year in 2020 and been anticipating a good year coming. And then we got into survival mode pretty quickly. It was very evident that when the pandemic hit, we were in survival mode. There was some sense of disillusionment. And hopefully we're at a place now where we're starting to make some improvements and some enhancements, and we're getting rejuvenated and reflecting on what went well, what didn't go well, and how we can improve as educators. And in the spirit of true improvement, I want us to reflect on just some barriers to our instruction, barriers to education, barriers to our education system now. One of those barriers that's just an enormous barrier is a barrier of student engagement. Obviously, we had some major barriers, and now more than ever in our history, students are really struggling to learn. They're struggling to be engaged, and we're seeing learning deficits that are starting to take their toll on our young people, on our adults within adult education, with industrial training, just some problems. Some of those barriers are physical distance. Obviously, we're self-distancing now from other individuals to keep ourselves safe during the pandemic. And so we're self-distancing. Here in the United States, they're encouraging 6 feet apart right now. And so that makes it challenges with communicating if you are meeting face-to-face with your students now. Other challenges we're dealing with. Many of the places we're living right now, we're required to wear masks or face coverings to protect ourselves. And that creates a barrier too. If you're wearing glasses or safety glasses with a face covering, you notice that the face mask causes your glasses to fog up. A safety hazard there, that's a barrier. And it's a real challenge we're dealing with. And being able to communicate through a mask. We use all of us to some extent to communicate. We read lips. You watch somebody's mouth to go ahead and see what they're saying. And with a mask on, you can't do that quite as well. You can't do that at all, actually. And so real problems there. Other barriers, new technologies. You, the instructor, might not be very comfortable with the new technology and the new materials that you're forced to go ahead and be using right now during this pandemic. Furthermore, your students might be using technology that they're not comfortable with. And there's a whole lot of challenges. So we really need to look at those barriers and address them and reflect on them so we can overcome those barriers to be the best instructors that we possibly can during this time. Count on it. Education is never going to be the same after this pandemic. So we need to be thinking forward about how do we learn to evolve with this as opposed to becoming a victim of it. So what's our reality now? Our reality now is that like that picture on the screen, there's a lot of moving parts to our role as a professional educator. And we need to make sure all those gears are working together for the betterment and for the good of our students. And so I would just say there's three things we really need to focus in on. And they are the competency areas of professional educators. Every educator needs to have technical competence in your occupational area and vocational education. You can't teach in vocational education or industrial training if you don't have technical competence, your technical background. You also need personal competence. And so you need personal competence to make sure that you have the ability to relate to people, that you're approachable, that you have courtesy, sensitivity, and mutual respect for those around you, your students, for your fellow instructors. So that personal competence goes into this as well. Those dispositions that are expected as a professional educator go along with that personal competence. The last one is professional competence. These are your teaching skills and abilities, that the curriculum and pedagogy, the art of teaching, if you will, the professional competence that develops along with becoming a professional educator. Now, we've always had these three elements or these items here, but we need to take a fresh look at these in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's new technical advancements that we're using now. All of us have been forced to use new technologies to go ahead and deliver our instruction. So we really need to be mindful of the new technical competence that comes with this. Yes, certainly we need to be cognizant of the changes and up to speed on the technical changes that happen in our field. But as a teacher, there's new technology that you need to be professionally developing on as well to make sure you're technically competent. Personal competence. Another thing that's happened during the pandemic is your social etiquette. If you're using video conference to deliver instruction, we're using all kinds of new mediums to deliver instruction now. Because of that, new dispositions, professional dispositions or personal dispositions, the characteristics, the behaviors, there's new expectations for things. And such as making sure that your etiquette is there when you're using social medias of some kind, making sure that your etiquette is there when you're on video conference, that you're interacting through written and verbal communication through things. And so there's change with the personal competence there as well, your things. And then, certainly the professional competence, we need to think about the changes that have occurred there for us. We've been stretched in different ways and pushed in different ways, forced to change as educators and evolve. And so we really need to look at this and look at our reality now and a fresh look at these things, because these are core competencies that are essential for every vocational educator and industrial trainer. We need to have technical competence, personal competence, and professional competence. And a fresh look at this is very, very important in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have to evolve professionally in this, and I want to challenge you to go ahead and do so. In order to do so, we need to take a look at the FiveStep obligatory system of instruction. This is a model that we've used regularly in vocational education and industrial training. This model just outlines the 5 steps or the 5 systems involved in making sure you deliver a coherent instruction. You assess and evaluate coherent instruction and making sure that the transfer of learning is promoted through your instruction. It starts with the preparation phase. Then it moves after you're prepared. It moves into the presentation phase. You've prepared, and now it's time to present your lesson and your lessons and your instructional delivery. Then it's time for the students to apply what they've learned. And that's the next phase. And you're giving them opportunities to go ahead and apply what you've taught them. Then there's the examination phase where you're actually testing your students and you're giving them written and performance types of assessment, and that's certainly a part of it too. That can you can tell whether they've you know absorbed your instruction and they've learned from it. And if they didn't, you can go back and reteach. Give you an opportunity to go back and reteach it again if they need it. Then the evaluation phase is much different than the examination phase. When we talk about evaluation, we're talking about evaluating your instruction, evaluating the overall curriculum based on things like how are students doing? Did the transfer of learning, was it promoted through your students? Did it transfer well? Are you seeing them in the application phase be able to apply what it is you taught them? And is learning taking place? All good questions there. For the sake of this presentation, we're going to focus in on the first thing, the first three rather, and the preparation phase, presentation phase, and application phase. And preparation is key. We need to go ahead and make sure we are, preparation is a whole lot more involved now than what it was before the pandemic. And so we need to make sure that we learn the new technologies that we're going to be using. We are creative with the way we're adapting and accommodating students during these challenging times. Because of that, some of you are working virtually. Some of you are still face-to-face, and some of you are in a hybrid model and things. And so it really causes you to prep your preparation to take a whole lot more time. And so that, the quality instruction is a result of a lot of hard work. And so that preparation phase is paramount in making sure we deliver quality instruction. The presentation phase after we prepare is where you're actually presenting. And we've been stretched in different ways to deliver our instruction now. And so we're delivering on platforms like Zoom, like I'm on right now. Other platforms, some of you may be using, Skype or other interaction platforms that are out there for that. Others of you, might be doing a hybrid model where you're working with a course management system online for your instruction, and then you're still meeting some face-to-face. Others of you may be remote exclusively, and it may just be recorded video and assessments that go along with that. Everyone's dealing with something different, and that presentation phase is very, very important to mastering that. But it all starts with preparation. Then the application phase. We've been pushed and forced to go ahead and have our students and be creative with how we're having students apply what it is they're learning from us, whether it be simulations, whether it be learning through activities they're doing at home because they can't be with us face-to-face, or whether it be a combination of all those things. There's many different opportunities for integration, for application, but we need to just go ahead and be cognizant that all of this has changed, and we need to give it a fresh look and really enhance our skills and abilities because, as I said before, it's for some of us, this is like being a brand new teacher. With that preparation, presentation, and application in mind, one of the foundations of vocational education, industrial training, is the adage, by doing, learn. And the experiential learning that goes within what it is we're teaching is very, very important. And making sure that we promote the transfer of learning through experience. And in order to illustrate that, I'm using David Kolb's experiential learning cycle. And David's Kolb work is a research-based theory to practice model here. And what it says is that in order for learning to take place, anytime you're learning something new, it needs to incorporate an opportunity for students to watch and to reflect through reflective observations that you see right here. They need opportunities to watch something being done. So that could be maybe they're watching a video, maybe they're watching you do a demonstration of something. From that phase, then they think about what they saw and really reflect and make generalizations about what they saw. And then it's time for them to actually do it and practice active experimentation and actively experiment what it is you showed them and what they were thinking and reflecting on. And then it's an opportunity for them to go ahead and feel and gain concrete experience about what it's like to feel actually doing something. That deals with muscle memory. That deals with an opportunity to feel how it is to do something successfully. It's an opportunity for them to develop a feeling for using particular tools and other apparatus and just the skill sets and techniques that go along with doing the work. And that comes through all of these things. And so in order for the learning to be as enhanced as it possibly can, it needs to include all of these 4 elements in a cyclical pattern, and it's a continuous cycle that never stops. Now, David Coleman's research is adamant that very clear that any one of these, you can start at any one of these places within this cycle, but it needs to include all these different areas within the instruction here. So anytime you're learning something new, you need an opportunity to watch, think, do, and feel. I want to use an example with you just to kind of illustrate this. How many of you can drive a stick shift or a manual transmission vehicle? Probably a good number of you. I can. It's been a while since I've done it, but I will never to this day forget the first time I was learning how to do that. It's a unique experience, and I don't think any of you are probably were masters at it when you got behind the wheel of that vehicle. Remember, you have to shift the gears, you have to use a clutch, you have to go ahead and use the gas pedal in coordination to make the car go forward, make it stop when it needs to, and not stall out or not make the tires squeal because you peeled out on the pavement. So think about your experience there as when you were learning that. You probably started by watching somebody go ahead and drive the car and use the stick shift to go ahead and shift the car through gears. So you probably saw somebody do it first. And then you thought about it. You had an opportunity to think what you saw and kind of reflect on that a little bit, thinking and watching right here. Then whomever was teaching you or you were watching or reflecting with probably said, okay, it's your turn now. It's your turn to drive. And so it was your turn to get behind the wheel and try stick shift. And this is the active experimentation phase where you're actually doing something. And your doing is very important here. You're learning how to go ahead and put the clutch, engage the gear, make sure that you operate the gas pedal, your brake, and all of that in coordination to make sure the car goes, to make sure this car stops, and that it's smooth in transition. Pretty soon, after enough repetition here doing, you develop a feeling for what it's like to go ahead and make sure that the clutch comes out at the right speed, and that you're giving it enough gas, and feathering the gas pedal, and pulling out releasing the clutch at the right amount of time, so you can go ahead and engage the vehicle moving forward. You develop more of a feeling for that, and the cycle starts over again. Pretty soon you'll watch some more, think, do, feel. Watch, think, do, feel. And through repetition, builds competence. And so we need to remember that in this COVID-19, we need to be cognizant that not just saying, yeah, I think we do these things, but we really need to double down our efforts to make sure that we're not skipping any of these steps. In this pandemic, and even after this pandemic, when things are different, we're going to really have to think about how we engage students. We're going to have to be a whole lot more creative with how we do this. Some of us are working from a distance, so we have to be more creative how we incorporate opportunities for people to do things. How do we have them reflect on things? Is it a YouTube video or a video clip that they're watching? Is it a picture that they're looking at? Is it a demonstration that you're giving on online for them to go ahead and watch either synchronously or asynchronously? All kinds of things to think about, but we can't forget about this during this difficult time. We need to make sure that when we design our instruction, it incorporates reflective observations, it's watching, abstract conceptualization, thinking, active experimentation, doing, and concrete experience, feeling. And with any new learning experience to be as enhanced as it possibly can be, it needs to incorporate all 4 of these areas. So that's very, very critical for us to be mindful of during this time and beyond. There's many different ways to engage students through experiential learning. In Pennsylvania, we use a lot of these, and we'll kind of just start and go through some of the ones, and I'll share an example here with you here in a little bit. But one of the things that we regularly use in the United States is a learning management system. That's an online platform that houses instructional materials for the instructor, things like job sheets, handouts, rubrics that students use in the CTE program or vocational education program. Other things like instructional videos that the instructor wants the student to go ahead and watch, reflect on, and think on before the lesson. And other things like their grades are housed on there. They have a student email that they can get their email there too, and just gives them an opportunity to really be engaged in the instruction beyond when they're just physically or virtually in that vocational program. And so the LMS over here is a great opportunity. With the revolution of video and inexpensive technology, we've seen a lot of the growth in video, and not only video, but 3D video and virtual reality and augmented reality, if you will. And so we're seeing a lot of 3D videos. We're seeing a lot of video headsets, 3D video headsets that are used. And the one we use at Penn State and some of the in Pennsylvania is the Oculus headset. And it's a very, very high-end headset that allows you to go ahead and engage in the 3D virtual world and engage in the learning that way. Other things that are really important to go ahead and use to engage students all the time, but particularly during the pandemic is what I'm talking about here with these things, is healthy competition. There's an adage that goes, competition breeds success. Now, we don't want to have so much competition that it's an unsafe environment for people where they're working too fast and they're careless, but the ability to go ahead and incorporate technology with competition is very, very key. It engages students, it has them healthy competition, competing against one another. And in this country, we oftentimes use that through career and technical student organizations, such as programs like Skills USA. It could be a program like FFA, Future Farmers of America, what it used to be called. Could be TSA, Technology Student Association, and other CTSOs, business professionals, FBLA, all the career and technical student organizations that exist have an opportunity to engage in competition, and students, that leads to new engagement for students, and we can incorporate that because that's an integral relationship within the vocational program. It's integral to the instruction, not an added extracurricular activity. That's integral. Those organizations are. So I'd encourage you just to incorporate some of these things, 3D video, some of the augmented reality, virtual reality, and things in your program, the LMSs that are there. And I'll be happy to share my contact information at the very end of this, and be happy to share some of those things with you. And I'll share some other resources with you as well. I want to share an example of a video that we've done at Penn State University. I did myself, and it was a 3D video that I'll share with you. And it's a safety-related video I did for some of my students, actually. These are teachers that I was teaching, but it was an opportunity for them to go in a CTE program in precision machining and go ahead and spot some of the hazards that existed in that occupational area that I pointed out to them. Now, they could scroll around. They would use the video headset, the VR headset, and they would move around the environment and spot the hazards. And I'm going to show you on a video here what it would look like. Then it would follow up with some kind of assessment to make sure they understood the point related to the video that I really wanted them to show. So I'll just share that with you now. We'll take a couple minutes and do that. So today we're in an industrial environment here, precision machining. And I want you to just reflect on the space that you've got here. We have all kinds of hazards that exist in this space. It's a part of everyday work that's completed in precision machining. And as a result of that, we just go ahead and reflect on the environment around you. Particularly with walking working surfaces. Look here, you've got some rags on the floor. That could be a tripping hazard. You could slip on it. We know that by our OSHA research that trips, slips, and falls are the most common type of hazard in this environment. And so we need to go ahead and correct against these things. If you were walking through here and needing to get to an exit in the case of an emergency, you could get caught on this vice handle here, get caught on some machinery as you walk through here. We have more rags over here. We have a situation, there's a broom left out over here that somebody could trip on. Means of egress might be an issue in this situation. If I needed to in an emergency or a fire or something like that and get out of here quickly, I might trip on some of these items or get hung up on some of these items. That could cause a problem. We've got a toolbox over here that could certainly be an obstruction of some kind for us to trip over a number of things that way. And another rag here that just could really cause some problems. Just need to be thinking about these things. In the hustle bustle of daily work in precision machining and in an industrial environment, things like this can naturally happen. Rag might fall out of somebody's pocket. You might set the broom up against a piece of equipment and not think about it being a tripping hazard or somebody getting caught on it and falling as a result of it. But we need to be thinking about those things. Really just go ahead and get them corrected. These things can easily be corrected.
but in their current state, they're hazards in and of themselves, and somebody's going to get hurt.
So you had an opportunity to go ahead and see the video there, and we've done other ones like that. The student would go ahead and use that VR headset to go ahead and navigate that area, and it works really well. I'd follow up with an assessment with students, and I would go ahead and actually go ahead and assess what they saw, what they did. In other videos, I've done 3D videos. They're walkthrough ones where I would not be narrating, and they would go through and spot all the hazards on their own, and then they would respond to a quiz or a test at the very end, what they saw, what they noticed, what were the problems, and it would really give me a chance to go ahead and see, did they really learn what they needed to in an application there. Give them an opportunity to go ahead and reflect. Again, watch, feel, think, do. The experiential learning model that was a part of that too, just kind of ways to think about it. Reflecting on things, thinking about them, watching, all the 4 components of that experiential learning cycle that's so important. Watch, think, do, feel. Some key takeaways for this presentation that I want you to just take away. We need to have a fresh look at these things. We're in a very challenging time right now with a pandemic, quite obviously. So quality instruction, we need to understand that that's not achieved by accident. That's a result of a lot of hard work. And I commend all of you vocational educators and all of us for doing a great job. We need to step up our game and get out of our comfort zone and just really continue to advance our careers, advance our instruction, and advance our standing as professional educators. We really need to get out of our comfort zone, and sometimes just not taking a risk, stepping out of your comfort zone is a really important to getting better. As the adage in exercise would go, physical fitness, no pain, no gain. And sometimes getting out of your comfort zone is uncomfortable. It's painful for you as educators, painful for you as professionals, but we need to get out of our comfort zone to do that. So I just promoting action planning. Think about planning for your professional development, assessing yourself honestly and objectively, making sure you understand what's working well for you, what's not working well for you, and where do I need to improve. And then action planning for professional development is just really key for success. I want to share a professional development opportunity with you that's at Pennsylvania State University. And that Pennsylvania State University opportunity for you is an advanced instructor or advanced instructor development certificate at Pennsylvania State University. This is a certificate program that's offered online at Penn State. It's a college course, and it's offered for individuals that are either current vocational or industrial trainers, or they're people that are wanting to become instructors and things. And so it's that we have an instructor development certificate. That's the first one. And this is an advanced instructor development certificate. It's 3 credits or 3 credits, 3 classes, 9 credits in total. The first course is a curriculum and instruction related course that will incorporate some of these technologies and things we talked about and incorporated today with video, things of that nature. The other thing is the second class is classroom lab management. Again, it incorporates some of the new technologies and things. The last class is assessment techniques, and it's dealing with authentic assessment and how we do that in a COVID world, and what that looks like to assessing your students. Authentic assessment, both written and performance, in a very challenging time. So it's something you can take. They're all online courses, so you don't need to be coming to Penn State face-to-face to do them, but they're good professional development opportunities for professionals in vocational education, industrial training, career and technical education, or very similar fields, workforce development. So that opportunity is out there for you. You can enroll as a non-degree student, take the courses, and then earn the certificate. That will actually be a certificate that's on your academic transcript, and it is a certificate sent to you at the same quality that you get as like you would with a diploma and things. And so that registrar's office at Penn State would actually send that to you. Something to think about for the future. So My contact information is here. If you have questions about anything we talked about during this session, during this presentation, I just want to invite you to reach out to me for follow-up information. I mentioned that certificate or those certificates. There's a link there at the bottom of the slide. Feel free to visit the website and get in contact with me if you have other questions, or if you'd like to enroll. We'd love to have you come and join us at Penn State and you know, connect with you and things and help you professionally. That's what we do, and our program is consistently ranked, you know, always in the top of the U.S. News and World Report rankings, and so we've been around a very long time, and we'd love to have you come and join us. So, with that said, I just want to thank you for the opportunity, the honor, being here and sharing, you know, some of my things I've been doing with you, and just want to challenge everybody that you know, let's turn the page on 2020. Let's go ahead and turn the page and really enhance the quality of our instruction through this pandemic. Use it as a stepping stone for greatness. And through this, there's a silver lining, and our field is going to be a whole lot better if we get out of our comfort zone and really challenge ourselves to get a little bit better each day. Thank you for your time.